So a question that comes up often that I get asked is, Colin, how do you work with business owners and businesses that are bigger than a business than you've ever had? And I think it's a great question. It's a question I've honestly asked myself numerous times. And here's how I'd answer that is, yeah, you're right. I've been a business owner for 5+ years, and I say that very objectively, very matter-of-factly. I do not have the 10, 15, 20+ year pedigree of being a business owner. I don't shy away from that. And at the same time, I bring a lot of value to the table. And this is straight up what my clients have told me when I've asked them that, is because they could care less if I have a business that's the same size or bigger than theirs or not. What they value is that I'm not a yes man, is that I shoot them straight. I am a great thinking partner. I ask them questions that nobody has asked them before, and I get to know them in a way that nobody has ever got to know them before. And I focus on the human behind the business. I'm not necessarily there focusing directly on the business, because when I focus on the human behind the business running it, the business is going to have a downstream effect. And back to what I was saying is that I'm not a yes man. I'm not sitting there telling them that they're the greatest person ever, they're doing everything right, because guess what? Everybody else already does that for them. What I do, again, is I ask them questions that people are afraid to ask them. I push them back in areas that people are afraid to push them back on. And I encourage them. I wouldn't even say I call them out. I don't believe in calling them out. What I do is I call them forward. I call the clients that I work with, the business owners that I work with, forward. I call them to a higher level to be the version of them that they know they can be, but they just haven't figured out how to be yet. And again, in my clients' own words, they tell me how great of a job I do that in a way that challenges them, that pushes them and guides them forward without shaming them at the same time. Because guess what? There's not a lot of value in that either, because they don't see what they don't see. They have blind spots, and that's what I'm there for, is to help them see the blind spots and make better decisions in real time under the pressure that they feel in running a 7-figure business. So while that question is 100% valid, and I welcome that question anytime it comes up, of how do I coach business owners that have a bigger business than I have and a bigger business than I've ever had, that's how. And the only other thing that I would add to that is, what I may lack in terms of business owner experience directly, I'm able to correlate to my degree in strength conditioning and my time coaching in the health and fitness field, because guess what? A lot of the same principles apply. They just carry over to business, and I found a way to draw the correlation and see how I can use that background, how I can use that experience, and how it directly applies to business. Because in reality, they're both the same thing. They vary by degree, not by kind necessarily. And maybe I might be saying that wrong. I'm totally open to saying that wrong. What I'm trying to say is that, there's different inputs and different outputs in terms of how to drive adaptation in the body. And in business, like, the inputs and outputs look different, but at the same time, it's the formula underneath and understanding what the systems, what the patterns, and what the formula are, and just being able to see it in that light. So that's the only other thing I would add to that question of how do I coach business owners who have businesses bigger than mine and bigger business than I've ever had.